Hall of Fame broadcaster Marty Brenneman here, and he's the best storyteller in the game, and it's time to sit back, relax, and have some laughs. Welcome to the Mayor's Office, and here's your host, Sean Casey.
Boom, we're back at it, Chinch.
I'm so fired up, dude. Here. I got to tell you this real quick. Like, you know, we work in entertainment industry too, and you know, you played baseball, I worked in sports, and we do this stupid show and whatever, but like you go home, you probably don't watch baseball games that much because it's like, I got to step away from it a little bit. I'm the same way with that kind of thing. And I'm obsessed with comedy. I'm obsessed with comedy, comedians, how they craft themselves, where they got the balls to walk up and stand on a stage in front of 25, drunk people at like 2:30 in the morning. Yeah. And I'm telling you right now, as far as I'm concerned, one of my favorite people out there right now is a guest we have on. He's already wildly successful, but we are talking right now to the next explosion, Sebastian Maniscalco. Go ahead, introduce him. I'm so fired.
Let me introduce this guy because you're right. It is deep. You know, if you haven't heard of this guy yet, you will definitely hear about him. No doubt about it. Comedian, actor, writer. He wrote with the hit series Man with a Plan, starring Matt LeBlanc. He is a big-time writer, stand-up comedian, helped with the Netflix original series Real Rob with Rob Schneider. He just finished up writing, directing, and starring in the upcoming film Daddy-Daughter Trip, right? Which also stars our man Rob Schneider and John Cleese. Rob Schneider's not really our man, but I just said he was anyhow. You've seen him on The Tonight Show, The Late Late Show, Last Comic Standing, Gotham. You can YouTube this guy. He's absolutely incredible.
Hysterical.
But also, too, I want to say he's on the #1 show, a ranked show in America right now, the Gutfeld show on Fox, which is outstanding. So listen, let's bring him on. We could keep going if you wanted, but I know he probably doesn't want to. Let's bring him on. Our buddy, our new friend, Jamie Lissow. What's up, James?
What's up, guys? How are you?
Wait,
how are you doing, man?
Lissow or Lissow?
The first thing I want to ask you is, bro, I've been going back and I'm like, I knew it was Jamie Lissow, but I was going through it. I'm like, and 5 people said Jamie Lissow and 5 people said Jamie Lissow. So I was going to say Lissow maybe because I thought that was it. Like, how do you pronounce your last name, bro?
So I've been saying Lissow, but maybe I've been saying
You might be wrong.
Dude, your intro was so nice, by the way. You're like, oh, he's done this. I started to get really excited, and then I was like, oh, fuck, it's me. I was like, oh, who's coming on? It's got some good guy coming on. Yeah, it's been that's pretty. That was a very nice intro. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I was on a radio show for 5 years in my hometown. I was the sidekick, and the guy said Lissow the first day, and I go, my mom said, I got home that day, and she goes, oh, could you tell him to say Lissow? And I go, yeah, sure. And I go, hey, my name's pronounced Lissow. And he's like, okay. And then for 5 years, he just said it the same way. He didn't change it. And I was like, all right. Just do this.
You're like, my mom's getting pissed now. My mom's getting pissed. Like,
he just couldn't change it. So like, I don't even see the difference anymore.
What's that background you got going right now?
Oh, yeah, dude. This is my, I'll tell you the honest truth. I'll tell you exactly. So this is our Northern Lights, Alaska background, because my place that I live in like a divorced man's shitty condo, and it's a disaster right now. And so I think it'd be better if you guys just saw that instead of the reality of what my life is right now.
Dude, what? So you're in Alaska? Like you like? No, I'm just wondering because I was just in Alaska about a month ago. And then I was thinking to myself, who would live in Alaska? Although it is beautiful, but like, I don't know what you do for like sleep. Cause I was there obviously a couple weeks ago and I had the mask on at night. I was like trying to darken the shades, but the hotel didn't have it. I'm like, it's 24 hours of daylight. And then they say in the winter, it's like 2 hours of daylight. Like, so how do you do it, bro? And why are you in Alaska?
Oh, I'll tell you, you're making a lot of great points, by the way, about living here. And God, I wish I had talked to you before my ex-wife moved me up here. I would have not even done it. It's great. Well, right now it's really nice. The reason I'm here, there was a girl there was a girl situation. I met
So it was a girl.
20 years ago. I did a gig in Fairbanks, Alaska, and I met this girl and I liked her. I immediately felt the connection. And she was the owner's daughter, the owner of the comedy club. It was his daughter. And so we got married pretty quickly, which I don't recommend to the young people. And we lived everywhere you're supposed to live for comedy, you know, like in New York City and Austin and Los Angeles. And then one day she was like, oh, what if we could ever move back to Alaska? And I go, I'll try that. And then we ended up moving back here, and we got divorced like 20 minutes after we moved here. And so my kids are up here, and so I come see them. So it's not ideal, of course, for comedy, but it is it's good. It's good for the kids. And I will tell you, winters are crazy, man. It's 24 hours of darkness. It's freezing cold, and you get depressed. You know, like I'll call my friends and go, dude, I don't know. I'm just so depressed. Like, I don't know what to do with myself. And like, I remember my friend goes, he goes, dude, come on. Isn't Alaska beautiful? And I go, I don't know. It's fucking dark. I just told you, like, it might be. I can't even, I want to kill myself. I can't even find a rope. That's how dark it is.
Wait, is it true that you walked up to the nightclub owner guy whose daughter it was, and you're like, hey, who's that chick? And he was like, it's my daughter. And you're like, yeah.
That's exactly what happened. And we're still friends. We're buddies. I just saw him yesterday, the ex-father-in-law. So it's fine, man. You can't.
Yeah, how is that relationship with the ex-father-in-law? Because I have an ex-father-in-law too, and we're still good friends too. And people are like, oh, I'm like, yeah, after 20 years, I began a relationship with him. I'm still friends with him.
I'm all good with all of them. I will say though, I was doing a lot of feeling bad for myself and being a victim and being upset. And I did ayahuasca. I don't know if you guys have ever done ayahuasca, but that weekend changed everything for me. And it made me come home and forgive everybody and friends with everybody.
Wait, the ayahuasca thing where you throw up? Isn't that when you throw up? What is ayahuasca?
You don't have to throw up. You don't go on this big trip?
You know what it is, Sean? You've done it?
No, but I've looked into it. I'm thinking about doing it too. But are you in like this? Aren't you with some guru out in the woods? And he's like, all right, now let's take this ayahuasca and let's grind for 3 days and see if we can get the demons out of you.
Yeah, he didn't use those exact words, but but yeah, that's basically it. And it was a little longer and more eloquent, but it was really good. And but that it really did. I saw I swear I could talk ayahuasca I could bore you guys for hours, but I saw this vision that like in the ayahuasca that made me realize how silly it was to get hung up on that. I felt like it was hurting my children by me hating this guy, this guy that my wife have ended up being with. I just realized life's too short, and there was no point in having this resentment and all this stuff. And so, but it was that ayahuasca. I should say right now, I do have a partnership with ayahuasca. They do endorse this. No, I'm just kidding. It was eye-opening experience though, for real.
No, I've heard it's very eye-opening. I did hear that it could go either way. You could have an eye-opening experience, or you could have an experience that says, I can't ever go back to ayahuasca town again because it didn't go so well. So I'm glad you had a great experience. And for real, like what day, how many days did you do it? And like, what day was it where you had that vision?
So I'm now obsessed with ayahuasca. I've done it 15 times this year. And so it was my third night when I had this vision, and it was, dude, it was crazy. It was like people will think I'm nuts if I tell you what happened, because it was like a vision where I saw like everybody was opened my condo. It was my birthday, and my ex-wife was there, and my kids and everything. And then this guy was there, and they bought me this present. And they go, hey, happy birthday. And I was like, oh my God, because people sometimes forget my birthday or I'm not in town. So I opened this present, and inside the present, it's a heart. It's like kind of like a heart, almost like a cartoon heart. And my son like reaches in to my chest and pulls out like this charred heart of a guy who is resentful and is hating, and they throw it out the window. And we all kind of laugh, and they take the new heart and they put it inside my body. And they all gave me a hug. And it was like this weird moment of, you got to you have to shed these old feelings and this old resentment and stuff.
Wow, dude.
That's crazy. That's intense, man. You're a comedian. This is an intense story. This is brilliant.
And one little thing, just if anyone was thinking about doing it and just heard us say about the bad trips you're referring to, a bad trip in ayahuasca is oftentimes the most helpful trip that you have. It's so difficult and hard, and the things you see are awful. But the fun trips, it doesn't change your life. The bad trips are what improve you as a person.
That does kind of make some sense. That makes sense.
No, I have heard. I mean, there's obviously documentaries on it too, and people say it can, it can be a life-changing thing. Obviously, James, for you it was. That's incredible. That is incredible.
Tyson, went from being I thought of one sports relate, and I was like, I'm saying it. Because Tyson, that really happened to him. He was like this aggressive, crazy guy, and he oftentimes speaks about how psychedelics changed like his whole perspective, and that's why he's like this super relaxed, chill dude now.
Wow. Did you do it?
You have that guy in the airplane, and you're like, maybe it doesn't work.
Did you do it out in Alaska? Is there a guru there, or did you have to go somewhere?
I went to Costa Rica for
Costa Rica. Okay.
And then I went to Florida for my second one, and I went to Phoenix for my last one, where it's illegal, so it was a little bit more of a sneak underground situation, which was kind of fun.
Oh my God, that's great, man. That is great. Was it anything like, because you're in Alaska and we got the Northern Lights behind you? Is it anything like that going on in some of the?
Yeah, it's a great question. So there's two ways to do it. Like if you do, you hear kids from college going, "Oh, I took acid and it was fun," and then you hear other people say, "I took acid or whatever and I quit smoking or drinking." There's two ways to do it. Like it's dosage, context, and there's one more thing: dosage, context, and intention. And so like whatever you bring into it. So I have seen fun stuff, but that was on nights where we took it and we were outside by a fire, and I wasn't asking any deep introspective questions. I was just enjoying the ride. You look up at stars, and it was crazy. You see like UFOs and spacecrafts like within the stars, just like all these fun visions. And yeah, for sure, lots of colors, and it's wild.
Wow, that's really cool, because Sean is really into, you talk to the heroic stuff and all that stuff, Sean. Like, I know we're having a good time right now, but this is like really in depth, very similar to what Sean does to kind of like get himself straightened out and stuff.
I've never gone down the ayahuasca, but I'm into like the meditation stuff, and and like I like journal, the stuff that I haven't gone to the ayahuasca, but I have looked into that stuff. But like just getting your mind right and being able to step away, and I journal in the mornings. I do the cold plunge every day. Just stuff that like make sure that I'm getting my dopamine and whatever it is in the right direction for the day and all that stuff. So I have heard a lot about the ayahuasca stuff. So very interesting story, man. Very interesting.
I'm so with you on that, man. If I didn't have a morning routine, I don't know if I could even get out of bed. I have a lot of trouble getting out of bed, and like I do, you can't see it through the forest, but right behind me, I have do you know what have you ever heard of a hot yoga dome? It's kind of a weird thing. It's we don't have in Fairbanks. We don't have a lot of options for like going to yoga or whatever. So I have a thing behind me. It's like a dome, and you blow it up. It's like a huge tent, and it's a hot yoga dome. You can go in and meditate. It's like 120 degrees and
like a hot box, kind of like a.
Yeah, like a big one though, where you could put like two people in there and stand up and do like a yoga video. Wow. It's got like heaters, and I do the same thing though, man. I do the cold. I do that, and then I do cold shower afterwards, and I journal every day unless I make a mistake. Same. Same thing.
Dude, that is incredible. I do find that, they always say win your mornings, win your day. Like I do find, I just have my days are so different when my habits and routines in the morning are right on. And then, even at nighttime, I try and AM, PM booking my days. I kind of, try to make sure I'm in bed at a certain time, get up at a certain time, and keep it rolling. And for me, and I'm sure, you find the same benefits. I find like my anxiety and stress are way more under control. And when I'm sticking to that program, because sometimes during the day, you never know where your day is going to take you. But I know if I get up in the morning, I'm moving, I'm exercising, I'm meditating, journaling, cold plunging, I work out at Peloton, and just, you could do it pretty quickly, but it definitely, like I said, it definitely helps my mind more than anything.
Hell yeah. I got a Peloton on the way to Alaska that's arriving tomorrow.
Oh, yes.
9 weeks to deliver this thing. I'm like, what are you do? You know what the Peloton? I'm sure when you bought, I was like, I don't know if I even like this thing. And then I got into it. My hotel in New York City has a couple. I'm obsessed. I do it every day that I'm there. And so I order this. Do you know that if you order a Peloton, you have like a 30 days to decide you don't want to do it anymore. So there's like no risk. But the only thing is when they pick it up, they're like, oh, you're a fucking pussy.
Yeah. No, but then there's the other thing is like if you get it as a gift for like your wife, remember that girl got completely Peloton like went down in the tubes for a while because some guy got his wife a Peloton for Christmas and they promoted it and it was like, oh, you son of a bitch. Like women have to do, who cares? Yeah.
Once I bought my ex-wife a dress that was 2 sizes smaller than she was at the time. And
that didn't go well.
I'm just kidding. I was like, wouldn't it be cool if you could fit into this? That's not true.
Oh my God. So,
and I got you those Trojan condoms. Okay. What's happening here?
You didn't get the magnums. Anyway, another question for you from Alaska, because dude, I was there, like I said, for 8 days. And one of the things I was legitimately scared of was the bears. I'm like, all right. Like I bought the bear spray, the bear whistle. Like I was like, I told my girlfriend, I was like, I don't think we should take a hike out here because I think this is a real thing. Like these bears are, yeah, dude. So have you ever come across a bear out there on a hike? And what do you do if you did? And do you have the bear spray and the bells and all that stuff too?
So I've never seen one hiking, but I've seen many in my car. But you're not talking to the most wildernessly prepared person in Alaska. I'm like an outlier. Like but I've never seen one in person, but I don't have shit. I don't have the whistles or the sprays or anything. But I've never seen one. But lots in my car, like you'd be driving, you see them like right at the side of the road, whatever, which they're not harming anyone. It would be a dick move to just pull over and spray it in the face.
Oh, well, I tell you what, I went hiking the one day, and I think I hiked for like, seriously, bro, I don't know if it was in my mind or whatever, Jane, but I was like, I had the bell going, I had the spray in my pocket, and I swear to God, I heard a bear. So I'm like, what was that? But I think I was just kind of freaking myself out. So I just turned right around. My girlfriend's like, it was nothing. I was like, no, it's time to get out of here. Like, I don't want to be in Ayahuasca or Girdwood, Alaska and say I got eaten by a bear just because you think I didn't hear something I think I might have heard.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. Better safe than sorry. I couldn't agree more.
It's so good. Dude, so when you go back to your career, brother, like, you grew up right outside of Rochester, New York. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a little history there. My sister went to University of Rochester for a couple years. Yeah.
Great school.
Yeah. Beautiful up there. Little cold in the winter.
A little cold in the winter, but a great city. That's a killer school, man. We got RIT and U of R are the two big.
Yeah. RIT is one of the smartest in the world, probably, right? RIT's one of the smartest schools out there.
RIT's super smart people. Yeah. So I did not go there.
So James, for you, man, like your journey of where you're at now, obviously you do so many things. You write, you produce, you still do stand up, all that stuff. How did you get into stand up comedy, man? And like, was that something you wanted to do since you were a kid?
Yeah, man. It's funny whenever like someone aspiring to be a stand up or a writer says like, how did you do it? And you're trying to like map out a way to like help a person. You almost can't do it because it's so crazy. Like there's all these weird little synchronistic things that happen that like get you to where you are. And you can never tell which one's going to help and which one, like whenever you think it's going to help you sell out clubs, it doesn't. And the thing you don't think is going to help out. It's so crazy. So I did it. Yeah. I wanted to do it 6th grade. I was like, I want to be in for sure. And, but didn't know it was a job, like had no idea it was a real job or anything. And then I went to college like you're supposed to do. I never did stand up. I went to, I applied for law school. I don't even know. I was drinking with this friend, a friend of mine, and we would drink every night. And one day I went over to his house and I said, I'm like, hey, you want to get some beers? He's like, I can't. I'm studying for the LSAT, the law school admissions test. And so I go, I'll help you study. And it's like a really fun test. It's like a lot of puzzles. So I go study instead of drinking. And when he took his test, I just took it because I was like, I studied too. And I ended up in law school just because of that.
No
other reason.
Wait, you were a math major too in college. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was a math major.
And wait, so
you passed the LSATs just like that?
Dude, I got the same exact score as my friend.
No shit.
But I don't know why. I just, how you don't know what the hell to do with your life. And so you just do like the next thing. And then one day I went to this open mic and did 5 minutes. And it was like, I've never felt anything like that. And I felt really like drawn to this, whatever this is, and then I talked to these guys after and I said, like, well, you guys, like, what else do you guys do for work? And they're like, oh, this is all we do. This is our full-time job.
Wait, but what gave you the balls to go do that? That's a big question in my heart. No, seriously, like, what gave you the balls to say, fuck it, I'm going up on this stage tonight? Were you like,
I want to hear what is really weird. So I'm is like right after college and I got some shitty job the summer before law school. And I was listening to the radio and they were like, oh, there's this open mic in Canada just over the border. And I was like, oh, I could do that. There's no pressure. I don't know anybody there. And then I started writing jokes and then like just the coffee wore off. And I was like, I can't, this is stupid. I'm not going to do it. So I went in my room and I went to sleep. I took a nap. I was kind of depressed. I was like, I'm a pussy. And then I woke up and it was the same commercial was on, the same exact commercial about go do this. And I was like, I feel like someone's telling me to go try this. And so I went to another country, man, just to make sure. And it did not go great. I wasn't like a hilarious guy. And they were like, oh, you have to keep doing this. I did like, okay. But it just really got me the bug, as they say, I was like, wow, hearing people laugh. And I still can't get over to this day where I'll walk into a room and it's totally packed with people. And you're like, I'm going to just go up there and just talk, which is essentially like making noises. Right. And everyone's going to laugh. There's no movie, it still fascinates me that that's like a thing.
So cool.
Dude, how did you like, I'm so interested in this too. Like, I had a friend of mine that was a stand-up comedian. He said, if you come out the gates with a bad, like first joke, but then you even could dominate on, it's like, you lose the crowd. Like what has been like for you, like, have you found that to be true? And also your next time up on open mic, was it quick? And did you have new material? And like, what started to work for you? Like you have such a great style. What started to work for you?
Well, thanks, man. And I would say a big mistake guys make when they get into comedy is wanting to have new material every week. You want to impress your open mic buddies and you want to have, but my friend Rob Schneider, he just told this story this morning on Bill Maher's podcast, but he was saying, it's all about having 5 minutes that kills everyone. You don't change it. You change the audience.
He said that on Dana Carvey's, what is that, Fly on a Wall? He said the same thing. He said that, what's his name? Jay Leno told him that when he was driving him to eat Chinese food. I literally listened to that a week ago. Sorry to interrupt. But
right. Not at all. Yeah. I guess he only has one story.
I was going to bring that story up. Sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
The 9th time we're putting the story out. Yeah, so it's all about like, and dude, I don't know, man. I only feel like recently, I'll tell you the truth, on Gutfeld, I feel like that is so close to me. I can't even tell you. And being on stage is that's not necessarily true. Like if I look at my old Tonight Show sets and like TV stuff, I watch it and I go, I don't even know who that guy is. Like, I think I did okay, but I don't look at it and go, yeah, I was great. I feel like now I'm just like way more myself. And I don't know when it happened, but I've been doing this for 25 years, but it's been a very recent thing that I could walk up there. And to your point about the good opening joke, it's very, very important, but I don't feel that way anymore. I feel like I go up and be very serious for a few minutes and then do my act now that it also changes when, dude, so I had a show on Netflix, but it didn't, like, no one came to my shows because of it. Like, people watched it, but it didn't like make people go, oh, we got to fill up this club. Couple people here and there, nothing that made an impact. And then it's funny, like in Red Eye with Gutfeld years ago, same thing. You would do it, but no one would like come to your shows. It was just this fun thing. But the Gutfeld show is changing my life in that I just did St. Louis and, it seats like 300 people. We sold out 4 or 5 shows. The last show only had a few seats and everyone already knows who you are. They know I'm divorced. They know I live in Alaska. They're already on board. It's almost like hanging out with your friends on a podcast where they have the context of everything. And so it's better. It's so much better, like to perform for an audience that came to see you.
Yeah. The show Gutfeld, is it such a different feel than being on stage because you have Greg to go off of? He's your partner, kind of?
It is. Like, I love that. I like being able to ad lib, and it's hard to ad lib when it's just you talking. You have to like go into the crowd or something on that show. Yeah, it's a little bit different. It's more like radio. It's more being able to be quick and read the room and do callbacks. Whereas on stage, you're sort of just like doing I like stand up, but man, do I love doing the guy.
No, it's cool,
show.
dude. You're so quick witted on that. Sorry to interrupt, Sean, but like I watch a lot and like just being able to react to the different people. And I think like the funniest things to me are when there's somebody who's like kind of more of the straight edge person who's sitting there and makes like a really hardcore serious statement, and then like all of a sudden it goes to you. And I can tell that Greg probably does this. He's brilliant at what he does. He'll go serious guy, and then it goes right to Jamie. And like, you'll figure something out to say that will not not upset the guy that just said that point, but it'll be like just the perfect comic relief towards like the subject matter. Is that what you're saying?
Thanks, man. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And also, I feel like say we're talking about whatever story, what Hunter Biden's laptop. I feel like who am I to think that I have a new point about Hunter Biden's laptop after a day of news? You're starting to hear like the same. I go, they don't need another perspective, but what I could do is, what if I make an outrageous joke that's borderline can't even be aired on television? And my favorite thing is when people don't know anything about me, and it'll be like a judge or like a politician, and like I do my first joke, and they're like, what is this shit?
What did I sign up for?
Oh my god! Who were like some of the guys like that that you modeled yourself after? Are there any comedians like you said 6th grade I want to be, and who did you want to be back in 6th grade?
I loved Bill Cosby. I just love the way he is with women. I'm just kidding. No, that's absolutely not true. I loved his style. It sucks that when you say Bill Cosby, we think of the negative.
I know.
He was genius, and those tapes were. But I don't think I wanted to be that. I think he inspired me. Carlin inspired me. But I didn't go like, oh, I want to be like this guy. I just loved the way they did it. And I think like mine is definitely, I don't even know I don't know who I was definitely inspired by a lot of people, but always wanted to kind of like do it my own way. And, for the first 15 years of comedy, I just told these random jokes. I would try to write like the most clever joke I could think of. And only like 15 years in, I was like, I want to start talking about my divorce, my relationship, my kids. That's not real for me. Was when you start like really like just going for it and being super honest. I think people seem to have responded to that more than what I was doing before.
They relate. Yeah, they relate to that one. What's funny, you think back to Seinfeld, you're like, this guy basically said everything that we're doing that is so obvious and became the greatest show ever. You know what I mean? But like, you look back at the show, you're like, he's just kind of talking about what everyone's thinking.
That's right. That's absolutely true. That's the best comedy stuff in plain sight, but you didn't think of that angle or, yeah, Seinfeld's the king of that for sure.
Yeah. What about like when you're writing shows or when you put your writer hat on because you're not on stage now, you're not on the Gutfeld show, you're not doing stand up, do you love doing that too? Do you love having maybe other people kind of deliver your material?
Yeah, man, I love like when I wrote on Man with a Plan, that was the best job I've ever had, hands down. That rivals like being on Real Rob, the Netflix show. That was the best job. I was in a room. It's just like, it's like this, except for people they throw out ideas and you like, and there's 11 people in the room. So it's like no pressure. And I was with 2 of my very good friends in this room, and I couldn't even believe it was my job. I loved that. I will say we just signed a contract to write a movie like that daddy-daughter trip I wrote before. We signed another one. That's hard work. I'm not going to say I love it. It is so hard. Like, it's definitely great. I love pitching jokes and things like that. I could do it for 24 hours a day. But if you're saying got to write a movie from scratch, I really have to gear up, sit down, and put on like the producing working hat. That's much harder.
That's a job. That's more of a job than like a natural thing for you.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
When you're writing, so I had this thought too. When you're writing stand up, like, are you going through your day and something happens to you, and like the other day I'm opening up a bottle of club soda, boom, it hits me in the face, and you're just like, man, I should do a little bit on this, or you know what I mean, like, or whatever. Like, is that how you do your stand up and get your new stuff, just by like, something dumb happens to you and next thing you know?
It's a lot of that. It's a lot of that, life stuff that happens. But then recently I do a ton of, when people come to my live shows, I know they've seen a lot of my act, and I am doing like a new hour as I travel around, but I talk to people and make up stuff like on stage. And that's where I get almost all of my new bits. Is at the end of the show, I listen to the recording and go, oh, I did that thing I just made up that thing. And so then I'll take that thing I made up on stage and turn it into like a better crafted, polished joke. That's how 90% of my stuff is now.
Wow.
I just kind of come up with it. Or Gutfeld stuff. Right. Sometimes I steal my own Gutfeld jokes for stage. That's the best.
You really? Wait, can I follow up on that? So, but you go in, and I hear this from a lot of comedians when I listen to stuff. I don't know any comedians, but like I listen to them, and these people bringing their phones out when you're working stuff out, and you're like, you just roll in Manhattan, let's just say, after a Gutfeld show and say, I'm going to do 15 minutes and try this out. But all of a sudden somebody throws a camera up there, and then they put it on YouTube, and then a joke you have not finished is out there for 1 million people. Does that drive you crazy? Are you okay with it?
We hate that shit. Like, you really want to be in control of your own, like, when you're releasing stuff. That's the absolute worst thing. There's so many like rules now at comedy clubs where Schneider has the bags you put your phone in and you can't even use it. And before that, it was, if you pull out a phone, you're gone. That's the worst thing ever. And even if it's not a brand new joke that's not polished, it also might be a weird situation or a weird crowd. Like, it's like anything. Like, you want to pick the picture you put on Instagram. You don't want somebody else to take it.
Right.
You're like, shit, that's what I look like. Yeah.
What about the guys in the crowd? I was at the comedy club in New York a few years back, and there was a guy in front of me like heckling the stand-ups, and I seriously wanted to fight the guy. I'm like, dude, I don't know if he was a plant or whatever. Like, it was incredible. This guy was such a tool. It was unbelievable. What do you like? Do you find that people show up to do that, and how do you react to them? Do you just like, get this guy out of here? Or?
I used to. If it's not crazy, I love it. Like, if it's a heckler and I can like shut him down, like, that doesn't bother me. I don't mind a little bit of that. It is super annoying though. And if someone's talking, I am now at a point where I love all these people that come to see me and they kind of feel like they know me. And if I feel like the person is ruining the show, if I'm doing so much different stuff and I'm running out of time and I can't get to the other stuff, I tell, we have security, and I say, if someone's talking when I'm not talking to them, if they do that once, you warn them. And if they do it again, you have to kick them out, because there's 300 people that got babysitters and paid for tickets. It sucks being like the bad guy, but I think it's about the other. It's not about me. I don't care. I'll talk to that guy for an hour, but I feel like people came to a show. You didn't come see a show with his douchebag. That's the Heckler guy. We don't want to hear that guy,
Yeah. Oh, it's the truth, man. Those guys, the fans don't want to hear him either. So I always wonder, like, that's.
Where does it come from? Like, I can tell already, I just met you guys, but we would never do that. Like, no one I know would ever go to a comedy club and yell.
Ruin the night? No.
Yeah. Like, where does it come from? Is it like a fear of like that guy being funny and you think you're funny, or like, it's really weird. It would never occur to me to like go to a magician and I pull a rabbit out of my ass. I'm not. This is not my show. I don't understand that personality. It's very confusing. And sometimes, dude, I was in St. Louis and my crowds are getting a little bit older. Love it. And this woman, the entire show, she would talk after everything I said. Like, if I go, so I live in Alaska, she'd go, we know. Okay. And I go up to the doors and she would just say something after everything. And I wanted to murder her. And she was like a nice lady that liked me, but it was driving me crazy. And then afterwards, they kicked her out. And afterwards, she came up and she was like super nice. She was just stupid. Like, she just didn't understand that's what she did not understand. She didn't mean to ruin it for everybody. I don't know what she thought, but that wasn't her intention. She was like a nice lady. And a lot of times they're drunk is what the problem is.
They've had a few too many drinks.
Sense. How about when they're getting a check? When they're getting a check and they stop listening to your show, does that happen to you sometimes? Yeah, that's like the worst,
clubs,
right?
The best clubs in the country, though, they check drop after the headliner.
Oh, really?
Game
Case, what I'm saying is, I went to Columbia in Manhattan. So when I was a kid, like when I was in college, I used to go to these. So we used to go every weekend, either a Friday or Saturday to a show. And when the bill came to like a 15-person table, everybody's just like. And they're not talking to you, and they're hammered, and it's 1:30 in the morning, and you're like about to hit your killer joke, right? Oh, it's terrible. It bothers me.
Yeah, New York has they'll drop the checks right on you. And New York has a check spot, and so when you're starting out in comedy and you go, I want to get into this club, they go, okay, you're in, but you got to do the check spot, and you literally go up, they hand out all the checks, and you muscle through this awful 10 minutes where no one's paying attention. And it's not ideal, but yeah, in New York, it's hard because they don't have the luxury of having the extra time to drop the checks after. So they just got to roll with it.
Dude, what about that? Like, what about the crowds that you've gotten, I'm sure at times in your career where nobody's reacting to your jokes? Like what's the technique mentally to get through that?
Yeah. Oh, I have bombed at every level. I've had horrible shows. And as you get older, man, as you do so many shows and have so much material, you get to a point where you stop having shows where nobody laughs at all because you have so many different paths you can take. Oh, you know what? That's not true. I just bombed horrible. I did a corporate gig. It was making the most money I've ever made in my whole life for one night, and they were Gutfeld fans, and they hired me. And they go, what do you need for the show? And I go, just, people sitting down, looking at me, some lights, some sound. And I got there, no lights, terrible sound. And everyone was standing up. There were no chairs. It was a conference, and they had no idea there was a comedy show. And I went up there, and sometimes, I hate to say it, sometimes you got to just earn your money. And so I set my timer for the required time, and I did my set for the 10% that were listening, but there was nothing I could do. I wasn't ever going to get all of their attention. They hadn't seen each other in a while. It was just a bad setup. So in that case, I just autopilot, but for the most part, you kind of have different ways to go with it to make it like, okay, to salvage it.
So you're never like, hey, listen up in the back, all the people that are talking and drinking, you did come to a comedy show. You never drop that on them.
Dude, I have this problem where I can't be a bad guy or it fucks up my head. So if I tell one person, if I even go like, could you please be quiet? You're making me crazy. Now it's like in my head and it like ruins my stuff. So that's why I set it up ahead of time with security, because I'm like, I know myself. I cannot police the room and be the person that I am on stage. It's like two different roles or something. Like, can't do it.
Yeah. Just stay the good guy. Just stay the good guy. Yeah. What about Jane, what about the thing with stand up too about did you ever have any of the guys what do they talk? What's that place, Chinch, where they say Chappelle will show up or Chris Rock will show up and
anywhere
they'll just pop in to do a bit, right? Yeah. Have you ever been there when guys have popped in to do a show like that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, in New York, only in New York, really, I would say, where guys stop in and go up. Yeah, everybody's been bumped, and because a lot of those guys, they don't want to put their name on the schedule because maybe they're working out bits. They don't want people to come to see them, and they're doing a bunch of new material. So yeah, I think Chris Rock has come in and done a set, and yeah, you get bumped, and it's awesome, man. You get to see somebody great working stuff out, and sometimes you get completely bumped and you get paid anyway. Sometimes you just get paid later, but I'm a fan of any time that's ever happened to me.
When I was in college, Case, I don't know if I told you this, but when I was in college, it was like I said, we used to go to the comedy club, so you get the tickets at Columbia and NYU. You guys probably all hand them all out. Come to this show this weekend, and we went to a comedy show. There were like 10 of us, and we're sitting there and we're in the front because it was just a random Friday night, and we went in there and Damon Wayans, he had one of the greatest HBO comedy sets I've ever seen. It was the night before he was recording his 1 hour HBO comedy special, and he walked in at 1:30 in the morning and did like an hour and a half for like 25 people, and it was like I've never had an experience like that in my life. And again, that goes back to like there were no cell phones back then, and there was nothing like that. So we were like, oh my god, we just saw Damon Wayans kind of like tweaking everything perfectly for the next night, and it was the greatest comedy thing I've ever seen in my life. Just a stupid anecdote, but that's my point.
No, that's good, man. I always try to think about the experience of the crowd and not about myself as much as I can. You know, like you want it to be, a buddy of mine it was like a Tuesday night at Dangerfields, and they started lighting him aggressively. He had just gotten upstage. He's like, who's here on a Tuesday night bumping me off stage? He said that on stage. He was like, who could it possibly be? And it was Robin Williams. And Robin Williams went up for like a half hour, which like, come on. Can you imagine you just randomly go in a club and you get to see Robin? And those people will never forget that. Never.
That is, and was your buddy like, yeah, go ahead?
Yeah, they got a good talk, and it was great. Like, he apologized, like, oh my God, I'm sorry I said, and they ended up having a back and forth, and Robin was super cool. Like, he said, oh, I told him to let you finish, but they just wanted to throw me up, Yeah, it was all.
Oh my God, that's great. Who are some of the guys that, like, we were talking about Josh Sneed. Josh Sneed's kind of my buddy from Cincinnati. Do you know Josh at all?
Of course. Sneed's the man, dude. We used to live together in Los Angeles for a while. He was in my wedding, I think.
Was he really?
Yeah, he definitely was. He was in my wedding. And
maybe that was the problem. That Sneed was in your wedding.
That could have been one of the problems. One of many problems. But yeah, great dude, man. You make friends for life in comedy. Like, you work with somebody for a weekend. Sometimes we used to stay in these comedy condos, and you would do a week and that's it. And then you would be best friends with some of these guys. You would immediately know if you would click. And oh man, like Ron White, that
dude? Yeah. Yes.
Like, dude, I was in a condo with that guy when no one was coming to the shows.
Wow. Are they co-ed? Do you get the girls too? Like in there? Or I know I've heard of the condos, but like, is it usually men in one condo and women in the other?
Back when there were back before Me Too and all these things, it was co-ed, and a lot of the comedy chicks were just like, there's no difference between a guy and a girl. You're just like co-workers, and yeah, but they were certainly co-ed. I remember a time or two.
Was Ron White as crazy? Like, was he like in the condo with you, having the bourbon and staying up and doing his thing? Same guy.
Yeah, I shouldn't even say this, but he was in Cleveland, and he got so drunk, and I used to drink a lot too. So I'm sure I've done things like this too. And he passed out in front of this dance club, and we made a sign that said Ron White headlining the Cleveland Improv all weekend long, and we just hung it on him. And then we went back and drank for another hour. Yeah, but I think he was the funny. I mean, when I saw him.
The best.
In Evansville, Indiana, I worked with him once. Cleveland, I worked with him once. Just a random place. I was like, this guy, and the set, he did that same set. This is the thing about changing your act too much when it's not being seen by. You change your act when everyone's seen it. But you got to be careful not to write like 7 new hours before you pop, because Ron White did it right, in my opinion. He did the same hour for years, probably for 12 years, without changing a silent space and a word. And then that was the set he did on Blue Collar Comedy Tour. Like, he was so ready to be seen by everybody because he'd just been honing this act, and he would deliver like it was the first time he ever said it for years. And then that's the perfect way for it to work out, is to do it in front of millions of people.
Yeah. So even that's really interesting, because so it's better in comedy to get an hour that you can dominate, that you have the repetitions on to hone, because people are coming there to hear the jokes that they think are funny, right? They don't mind seeing the same bit that they've seen for years.
Yeah, I think so. And once this just started happening to me where a lot of people come to my shows because of me. And so now when I do a week in New Jersey and they ask me to come back, I make sure it's a year to a year and a half in between those sets, and it will be a different hour. So now that I know they've seen me, I will not repeat. Wow. Unless I make a mistake, I won't repeat anything. But for years, I did kind of do the same thing because no one knew who I was, and no one had ever seen it before. And I would just take the same hour and just bring it to different cities. But once you have your fans, I think you have a little bit of a, I think you have a responsibility to like give them a 90% new show if they come again.
Yeah, dude, how does that feel for you? Like, for years of doing the reps, and like now you're really kind of like on the upward trend of like a lot of people are starting to know who you are. Do you take the stage differently now? Does it feel a little different as far as even like the confidence wise goes?
Dude, I love it so much because there are guys, I'm sure you've heard stories where someone's on TV and then people want to see them in person and they go to a comedy club and the person does not have an act and they've never done comedy before. And there's these guys they call it like the celebrity victory lap. They just go to these shows and they just like get through it somehow and do a meet and greet, and it's not good. And they're excited to meet the person, but it's kind of disappointing. I feel like I get so excited when I see all these people that don't even know. I also think I don't think I would come across that great doing stand-up on television. I don't think whenever I've done a 5-minute set, I don't like it. I need an hour of your time. I don't like doing.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I don't like the late show set. So I just love it, man. I love if you give me a packed room and I'm like, dude, I've been training for this moment for so long and I know it's going to go good. And especially they're expecting maybe nothing from me, or they don't even know if I do stand up. They just see me on Gutfeld. I feel like it's a superpower, man, that I've been just training for this for so long. I'm so ready.
Yeah. Casey, I have just 2 quick follow-ups there. Cause I heard when Seinfeld was on, I like to listen to when Jerry Seinfeld talks about comedy, whether you love him or not. Like he just breaks it into so many billions of pieces. And he said one thing once, what you just said, he goes, it doesn't matter. When I was Seinfeld, even after I was Seinfeld, even if they laugh, even if they clap and cheer and whatever and laugh when I come out, it doesn't matter, because if I'm not funny for the next 45 minutes, they will figure it out. That's the one thing he said that I was interested in about. And the second part about that, staying with Seinfeld, is he always talks about like breaking down his jokes, where he goes so deep. And I think one of his most famous jokes is about being in a New York City cab and talking about how the guy, you know what I'm talking about? Where you can finish it, where he said boron. Go ahead. You tell the story if you know what I'm talking about.
He had this one joke. I think we're thinking of different jokes. One joke I used to love that he did was he said he was in a cab in New York City and he saw the little thing in the guy's mirror and he says, I think the only requirement to drive a cab in New York is that you have to have a face.
Right. No, but okay. So that's exactly part 1 of the joke. Part 2 was, and he goes, part 2 is, this guy's got 8 consonants and his name is the, what is it? What do you call it? The periodic table's word for boron. And then he explained on something that I listened to where he goes, boron was the funniest element. I sat there and I stared at the element chart, and boron was the funniest word. So that's why boron became part of that joke. So do you do it that way? Do you break it down like that? Or
I have a little trouble speaking on like comedy process because I don't hold myself in the regard of a Seinfeld. Like I feel like he's at this otherworldly level. But I will say I've definitely had jokes where I did a joke on the Tonight Show where I said, I go. Sometimes you can just listen to people talk for entertainment. You don't have to like watch a movie or a TV show. You can just listen to people. And I was walking and this girl rode by on a bicycle. And this hot girl, and this guy in the group ahead of me looked at her and he goes, man, look at her. I wish I could be that bicycle seat. And I go, what? Don't you think that's a little bit of an unrealistic goal? Besides, if you're going for it, why not just aim to be the guy that's sleeping with her? And I go, maybe something that doesn't require sorcery. And I knew when I came up with sorcery, I was like, that's the word. Like any other word would not, like if I said, what is a magic trick? No. Like there are some moments where you go like, oh, I found it. Like I found the word. But I do feel like I don't count myself with those guys. Like I don't know. I don't feel like I have like I say jokes different. I kind of like say jokes differently. Seinfeld says the same exact word. He knows exactly how to say it. But if you see me twice in a row, even if I do the same jokes, I don't say the same thing. I taped a half-hour special and I had to like train myself to make sure I said the same words to time it out. But I'm
really
up there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, but that's good though, isn't it? Isn't it great to be able to tell a story and like add in, different things. I always say, like they always say, never let the truth get in the way of a good story. To add in a little new pieces of the story every time, or is that not good with comedy? Should you be right on every time?
I think there would be different schools of thought, but I think my style is what you said. I think it's a different in style that I like to come up with it as I go. And some days it's funnier than others. I just prefer that. I get really bored of my act. If you tell me to just do my hour, like I do a lot of ad libs. I talk to the crowd, and it's mostly because I don't want to say this joke again, word for word. I don't want to do it anymore. And like sometimes you have to, you're like, oh, I'll do it. But it just gets a little, it's like I read somewhere, it could not be true. But I read somewhere that the part of your brain that comes up with the joke and tells it the first time, because you're like coming up with it, is different than the part that memorizes it and repeats it. And whatever it is scientifically, I can feel that difference. If it's a joke that I've done for a couple of years and I'm like, oh, here's where we say this, it feels totally different than if my ex-wife says something to me on the phone, I hang up and I go, I'm going to open with that. That's hilarious. It feels like a totally different thing. It's like a totally different muscle or something.
That is so great. I know for me too, I like to tell stories, so many baseball stories, and I'll get up in front of an audience and tell it, and I'll be like, I've told this story 35 times, and I think I've told it pretty much the main points are the same, but I think I've told it differently 35 times. You know what I mean? I'll bring another character in, that's not the main character, but it's like, and then, Reggie Jackson walked in the room. It was like, holy shit, Reggie Jackson's never been in this story before. Like he just came in on the 34th time I told it. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. That's exactly how I do it, man.
Yeah, it's so great. So great. On the movie Daddy Daughter trip, is that from what you've experienced with your daughter? Is that was there a lot of truth to that story? It was take us through, because isn't it the dad and the daughter on a spring break?
Yes. So that story is more Rob Schneider, a story from the mind of Rob Schneider, and. Yeah, it's about this dad and he basically promises his daughter will take her on spring break. And then the mom says, we don't have enough money to go on spring break. And he says, well, I'm doing it anyway. And whatever it is, he tells her, hey, we're going to a water park, but it's really a car wash. And he's on the hood of the car and doing everything for free. And then they kind of run into this really rich couple. There's an accident and they're afraid Rob's character is going to sue them. And so the rich couple kind of brings along Rob and this girl on this spring break trip. And it's like this whole struggle of they keep going, okay, one more thing. And then we're going to ditch these guys and never see them again. And then she hurts him again. And they're like, we got to do one more thing so they don't sue us. And that's kind of it's a cute little story, man.
That's we got to check it out, man. If you're involved in this stuff, we're going to check it all out. And this is, it's been fun to kind of go down memory lane with you. One of the things that we do here, brother, on this show is we do a little bit called 9 and 90. So okay. Chinch is gonna ask 9 questions. We started out when we first did this, it was 90 seconds. Now it's about 3 minutes. So It's really it should be called 9 and 3 minutes, but we call it 9 and 90 still. So Chinch, why don't you take it away, brother? Yeah. He'll ask me a question, I'll answer, then you go.
Hall of Fame baseball broadcaster Marty Brenneman here. It's time for 9 in 90, the most ridiculous segment in all of sports.
Okay, great. You just follow up on his answer to the same question. I'm very stressed out about this. I got a comedian here. I'm trying to do comedy shit here. All right, here we go. We're going to start this way. Which of these 3 would you have the best shot at winning? A gunfight, a knife fight, or a fist fight, Sean?
Well, probably the gunfight, right? I mean, I think I'm a decent shot. Like, I don't think I'm a great shot, but I think I'm good enough if I can do that. I don't want to shoot somebody, but I'd be best at a gunfight, probably. Okay.
I would say 100% a gunfight, especially if you told the other person that it was a knife fight.
There you go. Perfect. All right, you're locked in a room for 24 hours and are forced to listen to one of these 2 songs on loop the entire time. Which do you pick? Who Let the Dogs Out by Baha Men, or Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles, which I didn't know the Buggles sang that song. I don't know who they are. Go ahead, Sean.
Are you sure it's not the Bangles? It's the Buggles?
No, the Bangles are the ladies.
You know what? those are two terrible songs that you picked. So I'm probably the Who Let the Dogs Out. I could just kind of keep that going, maybe bounce around the room a little bit.
Damn it, that's a really tough one because it's like a lose-lose. I think. I'm gonna go with Who Let the Dogs Out too, because I feel like there's a possibility before the 24 hours is up, somebody tries to figure out where the barking is.
There you go. Okay. Other than Lissow, name the best Jamie. Jamie Foxx, Jamie Lynn Sigler from Sopranos, Jamie Lee Curtis, or Jamie Kennedy? Sean?
You know what? I'm a big Jamie Foxx fan, so probably Jamie Foxx.
Dude, we're so similar. Jamie Foxx by just leaps and bounds. I love everything that guy stands for. And a lot of times, if I want to sell more tickets to my shows, I'll misspell my last name, Foxx.
That's good. And then they come out and they go, he's not black. What's going on? What the heck's going on here?
Oh, wait. I forgot I even have this here. Look. All-Star game a couple years ago when we.
Oh, there you go, dude. Chinch, you're way cooler than we are, I guess.
Yeah, I'm
you know
so
Jamie
cool.
Foxx Jamie and I
have like $7 million less than either of you. So you guys are cool.
By the way, Jamie, I don't know if you guys know the Tim Ferriss podcast at all.
Oh, love Tim Ferriss podcast. Love it.
Jamie Foxx on Tim Ferriss, one of the best 2 hours I've ever spent.
Incredible. Yes, incredible. Yes. In the in that podcast he talks about when Ed Sheeran came to his house. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so much good stuff in that podcast.
He's a great guy, is he not? Sorry to step away from this, but I have mutual friends with him. Great father, great concept about acting and everything and all that stuff. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he's awesome. Now it's 9 in 9 minutes.
Yeah. All right, hold on. Let me finish. Sorry.
Who cares? Also, dude, really quick, the Tim Ferriss Tools of the Titans book is phenomenal.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I love that guy. That would be my number one podcast to get on if I get a little more famous. I would love to talk to Tim Ferriss.
You're heading in that direction, bro. We're a lot lower than Tim Ferriss, way lower.
We're like
but
2.
He's way up higher. When you get on there, James, we're gonna say, "Hey, he was on our podcast last year." So what the hell?
All right, a couple more. I'll try to be quick, Jamie. We can get you out of here. I know the lights are starting to shine behind you. Is it okay for men to wear mock turtlenecks, Sean? And when was the last time you wore a mock turtleneck?
You know what? Last time I wore a mock turtleneck was probably like 8th grade because I thought they were cool. Like I'd go to the dance, little bit of a weight problem at the time, and I'd show up with the mock turtleneck with a bad sweater, and I'd be like, "Hey, this looks really cool." It turns out it wasn't. So I haven't worn one probably since 9th grade picture day.
Yes.
I would say mock turtleneck, absolutely acceptable thing to wear if you like having sex only by yourself.
I think if you got in the room with a girl and you took off the sweater and you had a mock turtleneck, she's gone. Yeah. She's out of here.
I feel like it's like a retired superhero shirt. All right. Pick your favorite, these Alaskan delicacies. Yes. King crab, reindeer sausage, or chocolate bread, which I just heard about. Sean?
Well, you know what? I didn't have any other ones, so I did have the king crab legs, and I think they were from that Deadliest Catch boat. I think those guys caught them somehow, and they were delicious. They do slice you though. When you go to cut them, you're like, "Oh shit, I'm bleeding.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on here?" And you're like, "Yeah, here's your $500 king crab leg."
Dude, we're going the same direction again. I gotta go king crab. Best possible thing to get at a restaurant, worst possible thing to get at the strip club.
Okay, all right, I'm getting quick here. All right, would you rather have to wrestle someone in a pool of Jell-O or in a pool of chocolate pudding, Sean?
You know what? I'm not a big Jell-O guy. So I like chocolate pudding. So if I get in there or something, I hit them with a half Nelson or something. I'm riding their face into it. I might get a couple bites in there. So I like that chocolate pudding.
Dude, I'm gonna have to go Jell-O on this one. I'm going the other way with it. I feel like just in case someone gets scared and some bodily fluids are released, we can at least tell the difference.
Okay. There you go.
You're my boy Blue.
Yeah. All right, a couple more. Sorry. In your next life, you have 2 options: be born again as a pet ferret or as a pet gerbil, Sean.
Oh
wow, that's a tough one. That makes me think of Richard Gere when I hear gerbil. No, wait, I can't say that. Let me see. Probably a pet ferret. I think ferrets aren't they like a little bigger?
Yeah,
they
they're
kind of look
much
like
bigger.
squirrels.
Yeah,
they look like squirrels. Like if you're a gerbil, you're like a little dude, and you're in trouble.
Couldn't agree more, dude. I gotta go ferret. I feel like ferret is the higher end pet. You're gonna have better owners. I feel like it takes a little more to acquire a ferret. I feel like gerbil is the Walmart and ferret is the Marshall.
That's good. Yeah, you can get good things in Marshall. Okay, you both fly a lot, both of you. Jamie, especially from Alaska. Biggest pet peeve about flying, Sean?
Biggest pet peeve about flying. I got it. I'm 6'4", and I just can't stand when people put their chairs back. I'm like, well, I don't understand. Like, all of a sudden, my knees are literally in the back of the thing, and what I do is I probably turn into a little bit of a kid, like a brat. I just start kneeing them. I don't like say, hey, sir, could you put your seat up? I just start kneeing the chair, and then they turn and look at me, and I'm like, sorry, man, I'm 6'4", I didn't think people put their seats back. It's 2022. I'm just not sure what's going on here, so my bad.
So I've thought about this a lot. A lot of things annoy me, but I would say my number one pet peeve while flying is crashing. I could put up with the seats, everything else. Man, so annoying.
That's a good point. End of story. All right, last one, and then it's over. 9 minutes.
It sounds like this is 19 and 90, Chinch.
I know, I was just very excited. Which one of these SNL characters, Saturday Night Live characters, is the best? This is a tough one. We got a comedian on here. Dana Carvey's church lady. I'm keeping Schneider out of this, by the way. Dana Carvey's church lady. Adam Sandler's Opera Man. Bill Murray's Star Wars lounge singer. Norm Macdonald's Burt Reynolds. Or Chris Farley's Matt Foley.
Oh, man, there's so many good characters right there.
I know.
But I don't know, man. I was on the Opera Man, then I was, in the Bill Murray, but I'd have to say Chris Farley was just like, I don't know. I just felt like when Chris Farley came on SNL and did his Matt Foley thing, it was a next level. Like
when he fell through the table,
there was a van down by the river, and like when they were like, "Please, he's been downstairs drinking coffee all day. Please give him a chance." I thought it was great. I just still love that character.
There you go.
That's really tough. Do you know that? You guys probably know this because you listen to a lot of podcasts. Do you know who wrote the Van by the River sketch?
No,
it wasn't.
Bob Odenkirk.
Odenkirk. Oh, I meant to ask you about him. First of all, most brilliant, considered one of the funniest, greatest writers in SNL history.
Wait, is that the
Better Call Saul, not Never Call Saul, Sean. I told him he's got to watch it.
Never Call Saul was not as popular because there were no cases.
Dude, would you ever do that? Would you ever? Can you?
Phone that wasn't ringing.
You see a comedian do the roles that he does now? Are you like, holy shit? Like,
could not be more jealous of his career. It's
unreal.
And for your question, I got to pick Norm because I love Norm, and he's the man. I love everything that dude does.
Did you get to know Norm at all?
Just a little. He was in our TV show so he was there for a couple of days, and then I went to one of those big shows where it was Sandler, Schneider, Meadows, Norm, maybe Spade.
That was his last year, right? That was right before he stopped going out, was when he went on that trip with them. You were there for that?
I was there. I did a dinner, not for the whole thing, but just one of the shows, and we went out to dinner, and I sat right next to him, and he was he said something really nice about me once, and I'll never forget. He was watching Real Rob in a trailer with Schneider, and they called me, and Rob was like, and he's my favorite, and Rob was like, I'm making Norm repeat what he just said, and Norm said like a bunch of nice stuff about how I was like a comedic find, and I was really funny, and I was like, okay. That was like one that I think about a lot when I'm not feeling great,
That's awesome, bro. That is awesome.
He was supposed to be in Daddy-Daughter Trip. He was supposed to lend his voice to the movie for this part, and we couldn't figure out why we couldn't schedule it, and then that's probably because he was sick, We could never, we couldn't get him into a studio, but he was supposed to be in that movie.
Wow. Yeah, a comedic genius. No doubt about it.
Did you guys see his Netflix special? The recent one?
The recent one where he did it in front of a camera? It was just him and his, what was it, his daughter or Unbelievable. I cried a lot. I cried a lot and laughed a lot.
I loved it. It was great. You got to check it out. It's so interesting. He's just sitting. It was for a different thing. He wasn't sure he would make it out of the surgery before this new stuff. And he just goes, I want to get this recorded. And he just sat there with a camera and records. His dog barks at one point. He gets a phone call at one point. He just one take and he's done. It's genius.
Brilliant.
You would love
incredible.
it.
Yeah, you got to watch the case. It was so
I'm going
good.
to check it out. I will check it out. Well, James, where can our listeners find you, brother?
So my address is 89. Come on over.
Just look for the Northern Lights, and you're right in front of the Northern Lights, right?
Right.
That's where we can find you.
You know where I am, right? This forest, and I'm mostly on Instagram. I am Jamie Lissow at Instagram, and my website stays up to date pretty much. And that one from a joke I did years ago is robschneidersfriend.com is my website, and all our fruits are there.
That's so great. Well, dude, listen, man, we have appreciated this so much. We know that you'll be on the Tim Ferriss show. I'm saying in the next 8 to 12 months, you will be on the Tim Ferriss show because that's where your trajectory is going. Chinch and I might still be in the same level, but we will say we had Jimmy Lissow on when we remember him when he was on the mayor's office first.
Hell yeah, that's right. I did the warm up just like Damon Wayans.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Go on a real show after this shit show.
Just like Damon Wayans.
You guys are
man.
great, man. I watched a bunch of your clips before coming on, and you guys have a great vibe, great show. I was looking forward to this. It's super fun. Flew by.
Thank you,
Great.
man.
Yeah,
Big
James,
fans,
thanks a
man.
ton. Yeah, thanks a ton, man. And we will we'll be hunting you down here soon, brother, because we're going to be in the crowd. You'll see Chinch and I like, yeah, baby, here we go.
Big sound.
All right. See you out there, guys. Have a good
All right,
day.
man. See you, brother. Thank you. Okay. Bro. Awesome, man. I'm serious when I say you're watching the trajectory of Jamie's career, and he's going to be on Tim Ferriss, and he's going to be having all his great shows, and he's such a great writer and stand up. He's going to have his own show, all this stuff. Just what a cool guy, and that Gutfeld show he's on, and just fun kind of getting into a stand-up's mind, too, a mindset of, like, that world.
Yeah, it's so awesome, and it's very interesting to me how many similarities the two of you have. Like, I mean, you both have a very similar mindset, and it's funny. You are a former professional baseball player. He is a comedian, and like the fact that you guys both are extremely involved in like your mental preparation for every day was the most intriguing thing about that entire show. We can hear him tell jokes. I will laugh at anything that guy says. Is hysterical when he's joking, but like the fact that it was really cool to see you guys connect on a different level that has nothing to do with comedy or hitting a curveball. It was cool.
No, it was cool. It was really cool. It was cool to hear his story and I love that. I know for me, like I'm a big believer in, like I said on the show, win your mornings, win your day. I think sometimes we react to life so much with these things. We wake up and go, all right, what's on? And I'm reacting to everyone else's life instead of getting into my life, getting into it now, right away. Let's go. And that's what I felt from him. It's really cool. So what a great guy, man. Great guest.
Yeah, maybe you guys can do a buddy comedy one day soon. Maybe I can produce it. Let's do that. Jamie and Sean, buddy comedy on a road. I'll produce it with Schneider and on Sandler and whatever.
Let's do it.
We're all on the same
man.
page. Not me. I'm not on the same page.
We'll figure it out.
All right, bro. Great stuff, man. I'm glad we got him on.
Awesome stuff, man. Jamie, thanks a lot for coming on. And everybody out there listening, subscribe and download to us. Tell your friends. And let's go. Let's keep moving the mayor's office. Let's keep moving the needle, Chinch. Love you, brother.
Love you, buddy.
I will see you soon for the Big Lambuski. He's coming up later this week. If you love fantasy football, if you love football, period, come on with the Big Lambuski. The mayor's office presents fantasy football expert. And if you're not, just come on and listen to the show because it's going to be a good time and you'll have some good laughs. And I'll see you on Fun Bag soon. And I love you, brother.
Love you,
talk to you. Hey, man.